Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Hannity, Fighting the Radical Left. I'm Tammy Bruce, in for Sean. And tonight, with July 4th around the corner, millions of Americans are gearing up to celebrate the greatest country on planet Earth. But hold on to your seats, because the Biden administration has a major announcement. According to the White House, the price of a July 4th cookout has decreased by an incredible 16 cents. Forget about the 50% increase in gas prices, or the 4% rise in housing, or the 21% surge in used cars, or the 124% increase in lumber. Thanks to Joe Biden, you just saved 16 cents on your cookout, unless you're having hot dogs. The price of a hot dog is now at a 10-year high. But Jen Psaki never lets the truth get in the way of a good narrative. Take a look.
Subject. The official White House account tweeted yesterday, the cost of a 4th of July cookout is down 16 cents from last year. 16 cents?
There has been a reduction in some of the costs of key components of the 4th of July barbecue.
So
that was what the tweet was noting.
So does the White House think that 16 cents off a barbecue has more of an impact on people's lives than gas being $1 more this time?
I would say if you don't like hot dogs, you may not care of the reduction of costs. You don't have to like hot dogs.
You can't buy a hot dog for 16 cents.
A reduction of...
So disconnected. While Jen Psaki spins in circles, her boss, Joe Biden, is flat out refusing to answer questions because it's Friday and we're heading into a holiday weekend. Take a look.
I'm not going to answer any more question on Afghanistan. Look, it's 4th of July. I'm concerned that you guys are asking me questions that I'll answer next week, but this is a holiday weekend. I'm going to celebrate it. There's great things happening. Economy's growing faster than any time in 40 years. We've got a record number of new jobs. COVID deaths are down 90%. Wages are up faster than any time in 15 years. We're bringing our troops home. We have all across America, people are going to ball games and doing good things. This is a good. I'll answer all your negative questions, not negative, your legitimate questions.
Come on, man. No doubt, Joe Biden is primed and ready for some rest and relaxation. But make no mistake, his radical base is hard at work. And the next item on their agenda, court packing. And if they get their way, the integrity of the U.S. Supreme Court will, in fact, be ruined forever. Joining me now with more is former Acting Director of National Intelligence, Rick Grinnell, along with former Trump White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus. Thank you, guys, for coming on here. I appreciate it. Reince, I have to say that when it comes to the job of being Commander-in-Chief, I thought it was 24/7, especially with all kinds of things going on in the world. What is your take on this attitude from Joe Biden of, I don't want to talk about Afghanistan, it's the 4th of July? Is that a normal and even safe approach for the president?
No, not at all, Tammy, and happy 4th to you and to Rick. Not at all. I mean, it's obviously a 24/7 operation, but it's also something that is very serious. And when someone has a question about Afghanistan and troops that are leaving air bases that have been occupied with American airmen and soldiers and Marines for the past 2 decades, it's something that the president needs to answer. But he doesn't, and the media gives him a pass. But I think it would be actually more fun if we played the 16 cents game and see how many things we could actually buy with 16 cents, like maybe a button, a Jolly Rancher, perhaps.
Not even that. That's a buck.
16 cents, right? 16 cents can buy you 4% of a gallon of gas. So, totally out of touch. While cops are getting shot up, Olympic athletes are turning their back on the flag, and 180,000 people are pouring over the border every month. They're going to be in for a reckoning very, very soon in this country.
What's frightening, Rick, and both of you have been right next to the seat of power there, is that with that 16 cent, meme on social media, it invites mockery and ridicule. It kind of signifies that whoever's making this decision is completely disconnected, and they think so little of us that they think we're going to get excited about 16 cents.
16 cents won't get you on the other side of the Washington Post paywall, where all of the newsrooms in Washington, D.C., across the political spectrum, are celebrating the 16 cents. And so what happens in Washington, D.C. is that they read each other, they retweet each other, they recycle each other's news, and then they go into the newsroom and they say, wow, this is such a popular story of saving 16 cents. But they never really realize is that they're literally retweeting and talking amongst themselves. This is the problem of Washington. It's so insular. I'm here in California. People mock this story. They know that when they drive to the grocery store, they just blew through way more money than 16 cents. And there's a whole list of things that are more expensive. And so only in Washington, D.C. does this type of narrative work. And Joe Biden will keep ignoring questions about foreign policy because he gets to. The media will allow him to when in Washington, D.C. But when you talk to regular people, they're laughing.
Well, we know it's a disconnection, but Reince, it really is when we're dealing with them thinking that 16 cents would rock our world. It's the same as with during the pandemic when what was also going to rock our world was $1,200, which maybe would last a week or pay a couple of bills or is going to get you through maybe 2 weeks. This is where Americans are realizing that they have no idea what is happening in our lives, in our cities, because, as Rick's noted, of the insular dynamic. Or do you think it's possible they genuinely simply do not care at this point what's happening to us?
No, I think they're totally out of touch, just as you and Rick just talked about. I think they've totally misread the American people. They think the American people are stupid, that we would actually be excited about 16 cents. But they misread the American people on cops. They misread the American people on the border.
Great
they
point.
misread the American people on critical race theory. And, you know, in corporate America dove in with them. But the regular folks out there are looking around saying, what's going on here in this country in just 6 short months, that we're losing not just the economy in this country, but we're losing the American culture and what makes the fabric of this country great. And so they missed the boat, and the 16 cents, while it is funny, just shows you kind of how backwards they have their read on the American people.
You know, and Rick, we are at Independence Day. We know that there's going to be no fireworks right at Mount Rushmore. You know, there's some punishment going on there. There's fireworks, though, of course, across the country. This is a time to celebrate. And we've seen with Olympic athletes, et cetera, condemnations of the flag, of America itself. Is this something that you think is really embedded in the Democrat Party itself? Because I'm thinking these are fringe actors who get a lot of attention and are elevated through the system itself, that it's perhaps not something that is infecting America as a whole.
Look, I think it's a little bit of both. I've been very worried over the last year that we have too many Americans that are just falling prey to government directives. That's not what America is about. We're not supposed to be told to stay in our homes and lock our doors and not go out. Look, the warnings about health practices and COVID, they're all good, but they're warnings. They shouldn't be mandates. I hope the American people start standing up and pushing back. The country that allows the government to dictate our behavior is the country that falls prey to totalitarianism and fascism pretty fast. And I'm really worried that we don't have enough Americans recognizing what the government is trying to do. Washington, D.C., as Reince says, corporate America, the media, they're all in on this. We've got to push back, and people need to speak up, and they need to be supported when others speak up. So, go to Facebook, go to social media, talk this weekend when you're celebrating your freedoms and your independence, and speak out, and don't be afraid.
Reince, I'm going to give you the last word here. A few last thoughts in about 10, 20 seconds about where you think on this Independence Day, where we're headed, if Americans are going to finally have had enough.
Well, I think we're heading, if not in 2022, maybe post-2022, we are headed for a steel cage match politically in this country. A lot of it's going to do with cultural decisions that have been made. The economy is going to be, the inflation is going to be hitting the roof. But
it's going to be a
really,
disaster.
this is going to be a call the question moment for the American people.
Yeah, great point. Great way to put it, indeed. And something that we are ready for. We're the generation that was born for this. And Washington, D.C. should wake up just a tad. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me tonight. I appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.